BMS Consulting Group focuses on helping clients introduce local specialty products and services to a global platform. Our current client, Iron City Beer, has German roots and wanted to formally introduce their Pittsburgh light flavor to their fellow German beer lovers. Thus, we began working together to make this dream a profitable reality. You may ask why light beer, which is a great question. Many are not aware that the German light beer market is at its infancy stages. Being one of the most health-conscious European nations, this fact comes as a surprise to many. Germany has a mature beer market, one of the most popular and profitable in the world. However, the light options in major metropolitan cities are limited. Iron City Beer saw this as an opportunity and partnered with us to introduce Old German Light as a beer option in Germany.
Germany is made up of 16 constituent states, covers 137,847 miles, and is capitaled in Berlin. This makes it the 7th largest European country by area and 62nd largest in the world. There are 80.7 million inhabitants, making it the most populous country in the European Union. Germany is a major economic and political power in Europe, with a nominal GDP of $3.82 trillion and 47,201 per capita. This puts it as the 4th largest economy by nominal GDP and 5th largest by purchasing power parity in the world. Germany is the 2nd most popular migration for living behind the United States. It is the 3rd largest exporter and 3rd largest importer of goods globally, with the port of Hamburg being one of the top 20 largest container ports in the world. In terms of annual business, the service sector takes up 71%, industry is 28%, and agriculture at 1%. The unemployment rate in Germany is 6.8%. 37 of the world's Fortune 500 companies are headquartered in Germany, such as Mercedes-Benz, BMW, SAP, Siemens, Volkswagen, Adidas, Audi, Porsche, Bayer, Bosch, BASF, and Nivea. In 2008, Germany was the world's 6th largest consumer of energy, and 60% of its primary energy was imported. The German energy transition is the globally recognized move to a sustainable economy by means of renewable energy, energy efficiency, and sustainable development. This makes Germany one of the leading countries in developing and using green technologies. Germany is the 7th most visited country in the world, with a total of 407.26 million overnight stays during 2012. In 2012, over 30.4 million international tourists arrived in Germany, bringing over $38 billion in international tourism receipts. Additionally, more than 30% of Germans spend their own holiday in their country. This creates a large market for catering not only to Germans, but tourists as well. Culture is at the core of German operations. Art is a staple of German history, with such successful German composers as Beethoven, Mozart, and Bach, to the great literary and philosophical minds. Germany has been home to many of the leaders of innovation and changed the shape of modern art. Cuisine and meals are a popular setting for recreation and business in Germany. In all regions, meat is often eaten in sausage form. Organic food has gained a market share of about 4% since 2012 and is expected to grow. And overall, German restaurants have become the world's 2nd most decorated after France. Beer is obviously another important aspect, but we'll discuss that a little later. Sports, especially football, have a large fan base, and the decorated men's national football team won the FIFA World Cup in 2014. Lastly, the automotive industry in Germany is second to none in terms of innovation, craftsmanship, and design. Germany is one of the leading motorsports countries in the world, with constructors like BMW and Mercedes being the prominent manufacturers in motorsports. Additionally, Porsche has won the 24 Hours of Le Mans annual endurance race held in France 16 times, and Audi won it 11 times. The Formula One driver Michael Schumacher has set many sport records during his career, having won more Formula One Drivers' Championships with 7 titles and more Formula One races than any other driver in history. And now we'll be listening to a phone interview with Dr. Martin Haberl, one of the general managers of Zimmer & Schwarz, a chemical company located in Landstein, Germany.
Okay, so I had drafted up a couple questions. I mean, one of the ones, so from your point of view, obviously being a business in Germany, what do you think one of the the biggest barriers for U.S. companies looking to come over to Germany is?
Look, there are probably several issues depending on which market segment you work in. Regulations is certainly one of it. This can be on the mechanical side with all the measures, the standards, the normation issues that are different. Just look at the cars. You need a different BMW 5 Series for Germany and for the US because standards are different, which makes it very costly from one side to enter the other one. Well, overall, you can wrap it up in one sentence. Don't think that we are equal if we look the same. I think between Germans and Americans, there are some considerable differences in points of view. Obviously, there is restrictions regarding imports and so on, and duties and normations and permits and so on. This is going from REACH and FDA from on the chemical side to measures in meters and in inches and feet in the U.S. This makes things difficult. And there is very often the assumption, if I'm German, why do the Americans not think the same way and the same way around? Like saying, if we like this in the U.S., why don't the Germans like that? And that refers to all kinds of products and ways of approach.
This one's kind of a big question, I guess. And Germany is probably the strongest economic power, obviously the strongest economic power in Europe, and one of the strongest in the world. So what do you attribute as the economic success over, like the last century?
Well, apart from obviously all the help in the financial issues that has been given, like the big package after Second World War, it is the mentality. It's the mentality which maybe is losing a little of value also, but is the value and wish to be and to make. And to make things well and to make them perfect. I think this is a big asset of the German people, that they really want to do things, they want to accomplish, and they want to do it perfect.
Perfect. Thank you.
And that is maybe in the beginning everybody forced the Germans, and that was a decision I think of the British, to say you need to write "Made in Germany" on the products in order to discriminate them in the negative sense. And after all, with all the work invested, the quality that they succeeded to make, after all, today it's a trademark instead of being a discrimination. And I think that is due to the mentality of the people.
Okay, so then one last question.
Okay.
So obviously, the culture in Germany, like many countries, is very different depending on what region you're in. So I'm wondering how the cultural differences within Germany affect your trade, not only with the rest of the world, but also internally. Obviously areas like Hamburg, Berlin, North Germany, things like that are going to be very different than,
Yeah, honestly, there are differences, but the overall way of doing business in Germany itself is not so different. So it is, for instance, probably less difference than the ones you have in the US, where an East Coast cannot sell in the West Coast and vice versa. You don't have that problem in Germany. It's different, you hear it, the accents are different, maybe some characteristics of behavior are different, but you can send a Bavarian to sell in Hamburg and vice versa. That's not a problem. Internally in Germany, it's not an issue.
All right.
Okay.
I think that answers the questions I had. I think I really appreciate your insight on touching on not only business but also culture, and it was definitely very helpful.
Okay.
But on that end, again, Martin, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Okay. Thanks, Peter. Bye-bye.
Once again, we'd like to thank Dr. Haberl for his insight into German business culture. Next, we'll be looking at our choice for a U.S. product imported into Germany. Everyone's favorite, beer.
The first part of our research answers the question, why Germany? And provides outlook into German business culture. The second part of our market research takes a deeper dive into the numbers behind the German beer industry and includes information about price, drinking habits, industry size, and the industry for light beer in Germany. Germany is the third largest beer producer in the world, after the US and China. Germany's breweries make about 100 million hectoliters of beer a year, about 2.6 billion U.S. gallons, or 85 million U.S. barrels. U.S. breweries, by comparison, make a tad more than twice that much beer, about 180 million barrels a year, but for a population more than 3 times that of Germany. In 2004, there were over 1,300 breweries in Germany. This number has grown by approximately 4% annually. Almost 90% of German beer production is consumed within the country, which means that, purely statistically, every German, including babies and seniors, can drink about 117 liters, or 31 gallons of beer per year, purely statistically. German beer consumption is about 60% higher than the average for all of Western Europe. Americans, by comparison, drink about 65 liters or 17 gallons a year, roughly half as much as the Germans.
The average age of German beer drinkers is 18 to 43 years of age. The popularity of beer in the German culture is demonstrated in the concept, beer is healthy at any hour. Cultural and commercial reasons have shaped the German brewing industry, which now contributes about 1.5% of the GDP of Europe's largest economy. The average cost of a pint of beer is 1 to 3 euro, or $1.07 to $3.22, 2.8 euro or $3.01 in the larger cities. Germany's total consumption of beer is 8.5 billion liters annually. In the United States, a brewery's light beer must have 20% fewer calories than its regular beer. Both in Germany and in the US, light beers tend to have between 90 to 110 calories per 12-ounce serving, which translates into between 125 and 150 calories for a standard half-liter bottle.
And now, for a more domestic view of German culture and drinking habits, we go to Mrs. Maureen Shadle, a flight attendant with United Airlines who has traveled extensively to Europe and Germany many times in particular.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight we have Mrs. Shadle with us. We're really excited because she not only has traveled extensively in Germany, however, she's traveled all over the world, so she has great perspective. And when you think about introducing a product into a nation where there are currently many manufacturers, it's very popular, it's very important to work with local experts, and that's what we did today. So we're going to talk a little bit about the German culture, German drinking culture, and wanted to make sure Ms. Shadle was able to share some of her experiences with us.
Well, you know, the German culture is, what can I say, they're very organized people. They're very in tune to what's happening as far as other countries around them, surrounding them. They are social, although they don't really mix business and their social time. Everything is separate.
So one thing we're really interested in is there a market for healthy beer in Germany?
I think all their beer is healthy because they're only permitted to use the 4 ingredients from the purity law. Mm-hmm. And when I was talking to different locals, they basically said the same thing, that they stick to the beer in their little surrounding towns. Each little town has their own like little breweries. And pretty much everything is just natural. So they really don't have a light beer that hasn't been, nothing has been introduced along that line. I spoke with one person, they were thinking about maybe with the Beck's beer, which is their most famous beer, that they would introduce a little bit of the lemon or the lime.
Okay.
Like, yes, but as of right now, most of their beer is made locally.
What are some of the top beverage choices, both alcoholic and non-alcoholic, that you would typically see someone drinking?
They'll
Do you ever see anyone drinking a soda?
No, very seldom, very seldom. I mean, they do drink it, but on the whole, they'll drink beer, white wine, socially, coffee, tea, the big juice drinkers, but not a lot of soft drinks.
So, there's restaurants I had been in while I was in Hamburg where I noticed that a beer at a restaurant might be €1.50 or €2, whereas the soda was usually $2.75, almost
That's
€3.
right. Yeah.
To the point where it almost discouraged you from drinking soda because a lot of times the calorie count was the same, but the price was so much higher on soda that why bother? Exactly, you get 2 for 1 and a little buzz on the side's not going to hurt you.
Yeah, cheers to that.
Cheers.
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 The thing that we were thinking as kind of we're talking through this, metropolitan areas, some of the areas that you visited, often have a smorgasbord, if you will, of people from different areas. So
Yes.
while one person may be from one part of Germany, they come to a metropolitan area, an urban city, that local beer isn't there, so they may have to adjust their palate slightly. That's one opportunity that we were looking into. Second, younger drinkers. So if we're in a college area or an area where you find new 18 years old is their drinking age, right?
I think it's 16.
16 pace, that's even better. 16-year-olds being receptive to newness, new things, may be a perspective that we could look into. I'm not sure if you have a lot of young flyers or not, but
Yeah.
you know, do you happen to see any generational changes where they're more open to different things?
They probably would be, yeah, I think so. They probably would be.
So you have mentioned before, the Germans see their beers as healthy. There are only 4 ingredients. It's pretty pure. You've said that a couple of times. However, you've mentioned that they have a curiosity about light beer. And quite honestly, there aren't many in the market currently. So if we were thinking about vocabulary or language, would you think light would be seen as lower calorie count and some of the things that we Americans stereotypically think of as more healthy?
Yeah, I think they would see it then.
Okay, so the light would be the direction.
Yeah, a light. Yeah, because they don't have that there, so maybe they would be interested in trying a new product like that.
A light beer.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a question about presentation. We were having a discussion about canned beers versus beers in the bottle, as we have lovely display here. In your experience in different cities in Germany, are bottles more common, or of course you may see individuals drinking in glasses, but are bottles more common or cans, and in what situation do you see either?
No, the bottles are definitely, people definitely order more bottles. You don't really see cans of beer, unless you're in the supermarket, and you could purchase it that way.
Somewhere to home.
But in restaurants, no, you never see that.
Okay.
Yeah, they'll bring you a bottle of beer, mostly that's on tap.
The younger generation might be more open to trying a light beer. They don't have the myopic frame of thinking of just, the strict German way, and they'd be more open to trying the light beer, something new on the market, and it being cans. They could put it in their backpack and go wherever they want, wherever they please. Would that be? Do you agree?
Yeah, I do. I did see in some of the local supermarkets they carry a beer, and it's actually a plastic bottle.
So, Mrs. Shader, we'd really like to thank you for your insight.
Oh, you're quite welcome.
We think it was really nice from an American point of view to see the way that German marketing is, the way that the German culture is, to give us a little bit better of an idea when we're speaking about our product, how exactly we should kind of approach it, what do we think certain things that they would like. So we really appreciate the time tonight. It was an
Thank
absolutely
you so much.
It was a
You're very
pleasure.
welcome.
Next time you're there, you're going to push the light beer for us, please. Thank
I
you.
will indeed.
We all know how popular the German beer scene is. Whether out to dinner or in the bar with friends after a long workday, the beer of the German people is held second to none and has a proud history for purity, taste, and tradition. As we look at the necessary strategies for successfully selling this product in Germany, we have a few recommendations for a marketing approach.